All right, boys, we are on air. Just a fantastic. We are ahead of the schedule. Good evening, folks. What a day to have my back on the show again. A crucial day back in Sri Lanka. Um, just so many things happening. This is unexpectedly. Schools closing down, coronavirus finally hitting us, people panicking. Uh, well, I don't know whether it's whether they have the right to panic or the way they are going about the supermarkets going empty. And I just came from the supermarket trying to buy some stuff and be ready come what may for the next few days. And that's the reality on the ground. Boa, good to have you back, mate, all the way from New Zealand. And you don't need any introduction. You're a superstar already. You came on my show last time. People all know who you are, and so I'll keep it very brief. Great to have you back, Boa. We would love to have your input. What's happening out there. Uh, just to see, tell people and how New Zealanders that the Kiwis are going about, and that getting ready for the event, all eventualities. Aslan, first time on the show, mate. People are
Yeah,
is a versatile, multi-talented personality. Uh, he's a music producer. He's a motivational speaker. He's a marketing guru. There's nothing this boy has not done. He's very active on social media. Great to have you boys on the show. Grateful that you take your time off to be on the show, and
thank you.
especially on a day like this. And boys, as I said, the reality on the ground, Sri Lanka. Well, we never thought that we thought that this virus is going to elude us, that that it will not happen to us. People had myths that we live in the tropics, and because of the extreme conditions we have right now, that will save us. And perhaps they thought that because of the spicy food that we eat, that the virus cannot survive in our bodies. And then people thought, we consume most amount of alcohol in the world, and the alcohol will
Mm.
stay. It appears that they all seems to be like myths, and it's not working. And we had one confirmed case of infected person, unfortunately a tour guide who had some contacts with a group of Italians. And this afternoon, the second victim was taken in and confirmed. And I think it's just the start. I think I did. I'm not a prophet, but I prophesized. I would say like a few weeks ago, this can happen, and people had their doubts. They thought no, that the gods will take care of us.
Mm.
The what do you call the nature will take care of us. But the ground reality is awareness. People, I think that's what's happening. Boys, closing down the school, is that the right thing to do at this moment, or like that we jump the gun? What would you guys think? In my view, I think it's the way to go. Better be cautioned, better be prepared than waiting for the reality to hit us. What do you think? Boa, please take over, mate.
Well, first of all, yes, great to be on the show. Thank you for having me back. I've done it. Great to be part of the show with you much. Also, myself to blow the way.
Boa, your audio is not that great, mate. We can't. Your mic is. I can't really hear you. Just please, sorry about it. Just say that what you said right now again.
I was just saying, it's
Yeah.
great to be invited back on the show, and it's great to be part of the show with you, Azlan. Heard a lot about you, amazing person, some of the good congratulations. Yes, look, if there was ever a time we needed a prophet or prophets, it's right now. Um, really interesting time. This will probably test the preparedness of people right around the world, especially places like Sri Lanka, where myth and science tend to go hand in hand. And to respond to your question, is closing down or shutting down schools the right thing? It probably is, because it gives a bit of a vacuum, a sort of a self isolation for the masses. So until the authorities can really figure out what's going on and take the right measure. My view, the most important thing, as in any case, is getting the scientific facts out there. Of course, there are experts who know this game inside out. Um, you got to simplify the facts, put it out there so that people can educate themselves and be part of the solution going forward so that they can get a handle on things and control it.
Yeah, Boa, just your audio is a not the greatest at the moment, but I hope it'll come through. There are a couple of comments already. The people are asking, "Are you guys having a Corona with lime?" Just Felix wants to know. Just the yeah, that
Yeah.
yeah, mate, great stuff. Okay,
Living it up, living it up.
I'm on my coffee right now. You probably will have a Corona later. Azlan, I hope you got your drink with you, mate.
I actually don't have it as yet, but I'm going to start drinking now that Sri Lanka has also been affected. And I caught on to a very interesting thing, Charit, you said earlier. You were like, finally, Corona has caught up with Sri Lanka, like as if this was something we were looking forward to. Right? But yeah, I guess it's a good opportunity, since also Boa spoke about this when he was just talking earlier, that it's a good opportunity now here, because we've got a couple of self-anointed prophets in Sri Lanka as well, and I'm sure they have been waiting for this opportunity to go and start healing people. And what better than the coronavirus right now? So COVID, I'm sure. I don't think COVID stands a chance against these guys. So let's hope that while the World Health Organization and everybody else concerned is looking for a real cure, a real solution, that maybe these prophets also, do their little thing and, try and save a few people along the way, hopefully.
As I said, I hope, there are quite a few comments already. I hope Lasit in the stream is fine now. I can hear the boys well. I cleared the blockage and it seems to be working fine. And yeah, as I said before, guys, the myths don't work, isn't it? I mean, right now, what people need to know that it is a virus and there is no cure. I think, the little research that I did, and I'm no doctor, and neither you guys are. But the fact remains, that it's a new virus. That why it's affecting people, because it's our human bodies, like our immunity system is not geared to handle this. That is where I think the reality is that it is spreading faster than SARS, but it is not as deadly as SARS. That's what I heard. The fatality rate, that perhaps that everyone who gets infected with the virus, that the fatality rate is not that, it's not frightening. That your chances are that if you're strong, if you're young, if you're you're physically, you're I won't use the word strong, but you're okay to go about day to day, and you have no other ailments. Your chances are you may catch the disease despite all the disease, but that you may not end up in a disastrous way. You'll be out for a while, but you probably will come out of it. But the people who are, unfortunately, who are like elderly people and the younger people, that they are the ones who need care. That they are quite vulnerable to this disease, because as I said before, because it can spread very easily, despite the beliefs that we have that that it may not spread in a tropical country, which is not the truth at the moment. And because there are chances that it can easily spread, so people have to be careful, listen to what the experts say, and be careful, like just go about. Life should not come to an end. That's my belief. I don't know what you guys think.
No, that's right, CS, because as you rightly said, the experts, medical experts, need to consult on us, and the information which is known about this pandemic needs to be put in a very simple format across to the people, so that they can educate themselves on how they can contribute, control this, as well as look after themselves. Because if anyone is going to play their part, bringing everything under control, then they're going to start with themselves and their immediate friends and families. So, for example, one of the things I do with my family, we use hand sanitizer wherever we go, and we wash our hands for a minimum of 30 seconds. But that's not new, is it? It's been around. That's good hygiene habits. And of course, get the right information about this virus and educate yourself so that you can give yourself the best possible chance so that you don't put yourself in harm's way and you don't panic about it. Go on with life as nothing ever happened.
Aslan, can you hear what Boa is saying?
Yeah,
It
of
seems to
course.
be
No, yeah. I mean, he was
all right.
coming. He was coming in and going out. I was kind of lip reading here and there, and I think it made perfect sense. So to add to what he was saying, exactly. I mean, I do amplify the point that he was already making. It's general hygiene, and I think, like I said, the hand sanitizers and just washing, and just being careful as to where you put your hands and where you put your mouth, so to speak, and also just making sure. I think for me, to be honest with you, guys, for the last I think two of the symptoms of this thing is having headaches and having a sore throat. I've been having that for the last 25 years, so I really wouldn't know if I'm if I'm having the COVID. What's it? COVID 21? Is it now? I forgot the number there as well now.
19, COVID-19.
19,
19, COVID-19.
COVID 19. Right. I remember
Yeah.
because we're making a joke about the 21. Sorry. And that joke is totally not relevant here. So I'm not going to bring that up here. COVID 19. Yes. So yeah, I think as long as we play it safe, and I think as a society, if we, like you said, we educate the people and we take precautionary measures on a personal basis as well as I think companies and the organizations also need to ensure that they reduce the spread from their circles. I don't know if it's true or not. I heard this guy who has been infected is from Atkins Spence. Am I right, Charit? I don't know. Is
Yeah.
that true?
Yeah, it's a guide from
Yeah.
Atkins Spines. Yeah.
So there's a lot of rumors floating around that apparently the Vauxhall Street head office has been closed and seized, and the fourth floor has been seized and whatnot. I don't know the validity of all this, but I think overall, if we're doing the right thing right now, schools closing. To get back to what you asked me earlier, I think schools closing is a very good thing because we really do not want. They say kids are in a better situation because of their immune system being strong or whatever to fight the disease. So despite that, I don't think we want to take a chance, do we? So I think it's a great move, and I heard lots of my friends. The thing is, Sri Lankans being Sri Lankans, lots of my friends are asking, "Ooh, will they also extend that to government, the public sector, as well as a few mercantile officers?" But I don't see that happening anytime soon, though.
Yeah, but Aslan, I suggested that it's about time that we change our lifestyle, and if we can encourage people to work from where they are, at least
Absolutely.
we until we weather the storm. That's, I think, perhaps
Yeah.
that's the way to go in the future, and we
Yeah.
give people flexible times to work and work from home. Perhaps we'll reduce the traffic conditions on the road and.
True.
Take stress off people, and they'll be more productive working now. It's use the available technology. There is so much going
Absolutely.
on in this country. It is not a must that people should physically be
Yeah.
in an office to make a meaningful contribution. That you can do a
Absolutely.
lot of work from where you are. I
Of
met a
course.
guy, and he's the CEO of Lankem, and
Right.
he's operating from UK, and he's running a whole department, the entire operation from where he is. That's
Wow.
where the world is heading. This is crazy that people here that every morning get up. It's a massive rush that everybody trying to get to work at 8 o'clock and knocking off at 5 o'clock in the same old system going over and over.
Absolutely.
And especially at a time like this, I suppose,
Yeah.
make the most of it. Make positive lifestyle changes and see how best we can work towards it. Make the most of it.
Absolutely.
That's all we can do. And I hope and also I expect the government, the information sources to be truthful and not to people to sugarcoat and see what is going on. tell the people exactly what is happening, and be forthright, straightforward, and like what India did today, clamp down. Nobody's visiting the
Mm.
country. Take
Yeah.
proper decision at a time like this. They can be, it can be right, it can be wrong, but at a time like this, make the most practical decisions. Now, for an example, now all those people who are coming from, like, at the moment, we quarantine people coming from Qatar,
Yeah.
perhaps Saudi Arabia and South Korea,
Yeah.
right? There is no restriction on people who are coming from China. Now, going
Mm.
back to Boa and I, what we spoke some time back, right? We talk of all over the world, is there discrimination against the Chinese? Listen, mate, my personal view, if you look back, right, all these things, from bird flu to SARS, blah, 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 it comes from one, no, it originates from one source. And someone has to take responsibility. And this has been happening every 15, 20 years. So when that happens, people look at you in a different way and you get isolated. I don't know whether it's isolation means discrimination. I think it leads to that.
Mm.
Do you get what I'm saying? But I don't know, like where I'm coming from, mate. Even those people who came to Sri Lanka and there were several protests, this is not the way to treat people who are really sweating out there, sending money. They're real heroes and they should be taken better care of. But where would you draw the line at a time like this? That if you are exposed to the virus and you are coming to this country, and if they are going to isolate you, I don't think isolation is discrimination. What do you guys think? I don't know. That's my view.
Well, look, that's a medical procedure. Isolating someone unwell or suspected of being unwell. Yeah, that's a part and parcel of health and safety.
Boa, can you
Uh,
come close to the mic a little, my Boa? Just I don't know why you're coming. Just your audio is not that great, mate. Yeah, that's okay. Try it now.
how are we
Yeah, go
hearing?
on, mate. Yeah, much better.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
get close to the mic.
what I was saying was, I mean,
Much better. Yeah.
these procedures, obviously, are the experts in their relevant field. They come up with these procedures, and main reason why we isolate is for health and safety purposes. So, those procedures which have been put in place, they have to be respected. But I guess what you're talking about, and what we're seeing around the world, for example, is the dark side of human nature, some human behaviors coming out there, xenophobia, racism, misinformation, lack of education, and people being very emotional and those raw emotions coming out. Um, and it's human nature. People want closure. People want something or someone to blame. So rather than being rational about the situation, so for example, now I've seen some videos circulated on social media where Chinese or Asian folks being discriminated, being sworn at, being shouted at. So if, I think this is like Africa, you can't really authenticate this once it's flying around. So the important thing is, showing a little bit of calm and not losing your head, and doing your little bit to make sure that there's some sense of control over the situation. But at the same time, if anyone feels unwell or anything like that, they have to do the right thing by self-isolating themselves and making sure that one, get themselves checked out and seek proper medical um, help from experts. Because as you said, yes, none of us are doctors, so that's an area we can't really give advice. But what we can do is, ask and hopefully spread the message to the audience out there saying, if anyone feels unwell or loved ones feel unwell, do the right thing. Seek medical assistance, self-isolate, and do your part to contribute bringing the situation down to the
Yeah. Aslan, do you have anything to add to that? What?
Yeah, Yeah, I'm just going to add to that in the sense that I'm going to take a different, the same perspective, but just add to that for the point that if you rewind the clock 11 months back, well, not just a little over 11 months back, uh, it was Easter attacks, and if you look at the community that was, you could say, isolated or discriminated at the time, were the pure Muslims, right? The ones who are burqa clad and who've got the beard and who've got all of that, right? So based on their visual appearance, because of the fact that the problem emanated from, well, at least let's leave all the politics aside here and the global powers and all of their involvement in the East attacks. If you take
Yeah.
the very reason why those guys blew themselves up was obviously for the 40 virgins and for other insane reasons. So
Yeah.
because of that stemming from Islam, anybody who was a part of that community and a part of that belief system was isolated and discriminated. So I think if you take it in general, that's how we human beings and we as societies or as organizations, as groups of people and communities, we tend to react to situations. But like what I was also talking about, I think for me, at the end of the day, if we're doing the right thing, we're doing it with the right, we're looking for the positive and the right result in mind. I don't know, you can label it as isolation or label it as discrimination, but as long as we're getting to the right place, I think we need to get it done. Like with the same thing that happened 11 months back.
Yeah, my point is, as I said, I mean, as a country, like, I said what India did. They took a
Yeah.
blanket call and I said, no visitors in. But
Mm.
I don't know what is happening in Sri Lanka at the moment. And we are only looking at, the few people coming from our own Sri Lanka, coming from the affected areas, whereas that, that as we speak, as of now, I believe the borders are still open
Yeah.
and for people from outside to walk in. So I think we are still vulnerable. We don't know what's in store for us. For an example, I was talking to a hotelier down
Mm.
south this afternoon. They were very hopeful after the unfortunate attacks, those April last year, that
Yeah.
attacks and our tourism industry went down. And with
Absolutely.
the English team here and the Barmy Army, lots of people expected to be in the country. The things were looking
Mm.
good. Suddenly
Mm.
now this has happened. And again, the hoteliers, the entire hotel industry, it's they don't know which way they are going. And
Yeah.
and what was happening this afternoon, to tell you, it's still, some places in Unawatuna, Hikkadu, very good occupancy. There are lots of tourists around. And but the hotel staff itself, now they are getting a little jittery
Mm.
serving these people, because now they
Mm.
know, now there is a possibility, besides the belief that they had that we are immune to the virus. No, we are not. That we are human at the end of the day. And the waiters, the workers themselves, that they are a little reluctant to serve these people. And we as a nation, now this is where the danger is. We got to make right decisions. And if you are going to lock down, I think economically, I think the country. I think I don't know. I mean, it's up to you guys to talk about. I think it's going to be horrendous. That lots of people may go out of jobs, and in the next 2 weeks can be real. It's going to be tough time. I don't think I was in the supermarket a little while ago, and people are struggling to buy dry rations, and that people don't have cash. I mean, that's the reality on the ground. I mean, you can't
Yeah.
spend tens of thousands and just up. The what do you call, the supermarkets, the counters were going empty very fast. I don't think
Yeah.
by the time I left the supermarket, there was hardly anything left. People are buying everything that's inside. And
Mm.
perhaps we might have to do that. If you are doing a lockdown, it got to be lock, stock, and barrel. And for an example, some of the big matches are still going on,
Yeah. Exactly.
right? And I think the Roito is still on up. I'm not saying that the life should come to an end, but how do we, if we don't have a clear policy on where we are heading. I reckon, Boa, you told me offline that Trinity St. Anthony's, the big match is called off. Perhaps that's the thing. I heard that Prince of Wales and St. Sebastian's, they decided to call it off. And if they are saying that all public gatherings are off, it has to be a blanket call. I mean, I don't know. Probably the English tour may come to an end, unfortunately. But, on the other hand, you can say that English are better off being here than being in England, and the tour must go on. Now, you guys were talking. IPL probably will be played inside closed doors. Where do we draw the line as humans? Do we all the entire world comes to an end, or the life goes on? Come what may, face the reality. Now, how do we go about? What do you guys
Yeah,
think?
look, CS, the most important thing is when it comes to policy, especially public policy, it has to be formulated on science and numbers. You can't just do things which are ad hoc because you feel like it. There has to be substance and evidence. So that's why, especially with this whole COVID-19, there has to be scientific evidence presented by the experts so that the authorities can make the appropriate call. And that call, people need to be educated as to why that's being done. And you've got to simplify the facts of the matter, present it to people, and they can then be part of the wider solution. Now, the problem is um, when that does not happen, the rumor mill starts. For example, someone sent me a net on WhatsApp, and yeah, it had a bar graph, and it showed the sources of the coronavirus. And right at the bottom, the highest spread rate was WhatsApp. So that's I thought that was quite creative and funny because again, there's a lot of information and misinformation, and it's quite incredible how people these days are dependent on social media. And whatever goes on social media, they take it as gospel or they believe it's true. So it's vitally, vitally important to hold without the right facts based on proper medical advice of the experts and underscore that more enough. And whatever decisions they take, it has to be sound and there has to be a scientific basis. So if it means, cancelling public events or playing sports behind closed doors and, the way the modern technology of the world works, especially with sport, television only for eyeballs. For example, what we are doing, we have three separate locations, but we're having a certain audience, a number of eyeballs, and we can get our message across. Same can be said with most sporting events, because where the finances, where the money actually comes from, is from the TV rights. For example, the IPL,
Mm.
the audience, the live audience, the live game in the stadium is a drop in the ocean when it comes to the revenue, as opposed to the hundreds of millions of eyeballs tuning in live and on delayed streams and broadcasts around the world. So again, the point I'm trying to make is whatever decisions are taken, it has to be sound policy. It's got to make sense. Some of these decisions, I would say, probably not the popular one, but difficult and hard. But if that's what needs to be done, then it's got to be done. You have to be very clear as to why those calls are made. So not allowing misinformation and this, this, politicized very quickly. Um, and Aslan, as you said, maybe this is the time all the prophets needs to stand up and Sari said, what, the staff in the hotels, they're fearful. So maybe these prophets could go down there and do their thing and just in
Mm.
click of a finger get rid of COVID-19. Yeah?
What you're saying, Bo,
Amen.
I mean,
Amen.
man, just again, your audio was not that great, and as you were coming and going out, just say, unfortunately, um, I reckon what you said, and life should go on, and these sporting events can be done indoors, like empty stadiums, but it can bring it to
Mm.
your doorstep.
Close to.
That's a
Yeah.
brilliant suggestion.
So for
That's what you're
example, tomorrow there's a much anticipated football rugby game between Trinity and St. Anthony's, which is going to be played at Liverpool in Candy. The latest word on that is it will be played behind closed doors. There's going to be a live broadcast, and there's a network I'm heavily involved with, operate at home. The game's going to be live. It's going to be webcast to thousands of people around the world, and of course in Sri Lanka. So, yeah, life's got to go on. We just got to have to figure out a way to get around this. And as I said, the policymakers have to make decisions based on science and evidence, not on some misguided myth or just because it feels like.
Yeah, great point. I mean, I actually didn't think about it. I mean, people just we can stop all what is happening around us, and just stay put at home, expecting the virus to hit us, or like that face reality and look for alternatives, and the life should go on. I think that's where should stand. I don't think the English should go back home. Let the series go on. Perhaps no spectators on the ground. Give a live feed, like to telecast to everyone. The whole world can watch it. Perhaps that's the best thing to do. Have some activity
Yeah.
around at this time. Let people stay indoors, and stay put and watch the game. I think
Yeah.
that's brilliant, and that's Azlan. I think that's a great
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Bo pretty much covered his points perfectly. I don't need to talk about that. But just to add to some of the things he was talking about, Charit, I don't think, Charit, the coronavirus or not, the English team is better off still being in the sunny island of Sri Lanka than in the cold, dark weather of England. So COVID-19 or not, they're better off here. But besides that, I mean, I know there are a lot of people, because as you know, with my involvement as well with Sri Lanka cricket, and with the big screen productions and all of that in previous tours, I've made a lot of friends with Bami Army and with a lot of Britishers. And in fact, I've been added to a whole bunch of groups with people asking me if how they can get tickets. And I know a lot of people are coming down. I don't know what the current scenario is with border control and all that. I don't know what's going on with that. But in terms of what you also touched on, the hotels at the moment, since I am involved in online travel agency management, and I do handle about 9 properties in Sri Lanka, I can tell you that our numbers across those 9 hotels, which are everything from Mirissa to Alla to Unnavatna and Gaul and all of that, is down by at least, I would say, 60%. 60% in online bookings were down.
Is it
So
are there
that's
cancellations, or are there cancellations, or
lots of cancellations. But in addition to the cancellations, there's a whole heap of just people who are just looking around but not really traveling. So because with the statistics that are available to us, we do get these numbers from our IT systems, and we see a lot of people just looking for probably future dates when they believe that this virus has been taken care of. So the thing is, the large corporations, yes, they have their large overheads, but they also have access to sources of finance which they can use to manage their working capital. But who I really fear and who I really I feel sorry for is the small and medium hotel owner, because they are really going to struggle to pay their bills and to manage, and that's going to have a roll-on effect on their employees, and then that's just going to have a lot of roll-on effect on society itself, with a lot of unrest. I mean, we're not in the best place right now as a country economically, and if something like this happens, I mean, it's just been 11 months since the last craziness that hit our shores, and now this. So tourism, just when tourism was bouncing back, it's gone. And now I do a lot of video productions for a lot of hotel chains as well. Are you guys there, by the way? Just checking.
Boa went off the line just briefly, but I'm
Okay,
adding
right.
you
So yes, you're
back on
there.
the line.
Right. Okay, great. Yeah, just to
Yeah, Boa
double
is
check.
back
All
on.
right.
Yeah.
So
Back on,
yeah,
guys.
I just didn't want to see.
I think coronavirus is having an effect on the internet as well. So
It's that. Yeah, it's the bottle. It's
Yeah.
the bottle. The bottle. I think the bottle is is less than 3 feet away from your router, from your internet router. That's the problem. Get it?
That's right. It's not just the corona; it's corona extra, so it has an effect.
Ooh, right.
I'm not
So it's
sure whether it's the virus or the corona extra that you have in hand have the effect. Whatever it is, it's not the greatest reception from New Zealand all the way. It had a few hiccups here and there, but we'll try and do the best we can.
Back on the 5G
It's
network.
always the case, like,
So good.
you're a million miles away. What people out there who's listening, that it's amazing, like what we are doing. I'm getting you from all the way from New Zealand, and Aslan, I don't know where the hell you are, and what we are doing. We are making use of the available the technology, and I'm bringing three
Yeah,
people from three different corners of the world, and we are having a chat. The same thing can be done,
absolutely.
in your working environment,
Yeah. No,
despite all the.
Okay.
so see, yes, I'm sorry to butt in. Just
No
before
worries.
I forget this point. So, which sports now? Say for example, Sri Lanka cricket. It's common knowledge that they're financially struggling. Yeah? So, sport, the broadcasting sport, especially pay per view, that's something I don't think we do about. Especially to do with professional unarmed combat sport, boxing and involved in for a number of years. So, given the current situation, perhaps this is the perfect opportunity for Sri Lanka cricket to start their own pay-per-view platform, where for a small subscription fee, viewers around the country and around the world can watch these games live on their mobile device or on their television. So that way, it doesn't matter where you play. You could play the game in the most obscure, remote area where there's hardly any threat of COVID or whatever it is, and yet you can get a bigger audience, more engagement, and also at the same time, it might be the answer for financial needs. You got to think a little bit mentally that whatever problems come across, we just have to figure out ways. Like, for example, I'm a professional investor. Markets around the world are taking absolute lockdown. That's the reality. Billions of dollars are being wiped out in equity stock markets around the world. But with every negative, there's always an opportunity, always a positive. So we have to adapt to
Yep.
the situation and do the right thing.
Yep. I think Aslan, correct me if I'm wrong. I think I think no, that's a that people can watch from wherever they are. You don't have to be in front of a TV. I think the stream is on YouTube, and all kinds
Yeah.
of links, and that the people have access. Okay, provided that you have sufficient data, you can watch the game. I suppose
Yeah.
if the tour goes on, people will be more high tech, and people will be watching the game and from wherever they are, actually without
Yeah.
physically being present at the ground. But I
Correct.
think you guys are sportsmen. I know there is no sport without spectators, but it's not having spectators on the ground, but probably imaginary, that you have a imaginary audience watching the game. You still, that's the way I think. Perhaps that's the way the future sport going to be. The life must go on. Everything cannot come to a standstill,
Yeah.
but people need to take precautions, and how you go about. That's
Sure.
to be practical. I don't know. That's what you guys are saying, I
Yeah.
reckon.
Test. Yeah. I mean, like, if you think about Test cricket, essentially, especially in the subcontinent, it's been surviving on the eyeballs on TV and on streaming. It's not on, obviously, without the audience. It's not like a test match at the Lords or the Box India test match where you get full houses here. So, and I'm talking about it, Sri Lankan grounds which can only accommodate 10,000, 12,000 people. Even that is not even 10% full on big game days, unless of course the
Yeah,
Barmy army is coming to Sri Lanka. But
yeah,
but the thing is, um, to add to that, I think the other issue that might be there for the pay-per-view is, I think, the fact that Sri Lanka cricket, I think that's more a thing that probably Sony TV, who have the broadcast rights, who have bought the broadcast rights from Sri Lanka cricket. I think they will have to do that because it's their. I think it's their right now because they have bought the broadcast rights. I don't know how much Sri Lanka cricket. Maybe they stand to make something out of it. I'm sure they can. I mean, there's so many dodgy deals that have gone through in the years gone by. Charit, I'm not
yeah.
saying that you know anything about what happened in the past. Obviously
Well,
not. But
yeah,
I'm sure. I recently saw, just to bring this in as well. I saw Jerome prophesying over Faf du Plessis, uh, all completely failure of a prophecy though. But still, I'm sure he can vouch, or he can prophesy for the fact that Sri Lanka cricket have done deals like this before, and I'm sure they can do it again. But to get to this point about just quickly what you spoke about, CS, on this whole the work from home scenario, I think the biggest issue there is the Sri Lankan culture itself. Because if you look at it, we are still so mundane in our processes. Where there's so much red tape, so much bureaucracy. In addition to that, we are literally 5 to 10 years behind in the way we approach work. If you just look at, I remember this is going back long years ago, and my gosh, yes, my name starts with Muhammad, but I'm not a prophet. But I'm just saying, I remember when I was working, my only job that I worked before I started my higher studies, where this is back in 2003 at HSBC, uh, big bank, right? You would think HSBC head of innovations, and they will introduce so many innovations in Sri Lanka and around the world. But when we had a huge staff meeting, and I was 19 at the time, 18 or 19, and then when they asked the audience, they asked the staff, when I mean audience, I mean the staff, they asked the staff, any suggestions for things we can do to improve. So the first thing that I said was, why don't we get the back office staff in a warm country, a warm tropical country like Sri Lanka? Why don't we get the back office staff to not wear their ties and come with long sleeve shirts, and instead, wear nice, like pants and just, t-shirts, or comfortable short sleeve shirts, so that their productivity levels will be higher. They'll be spending more time with the processors, as opposed to, battling that tie that's irritating them, or the collar that's, giving them an itch. So I still remember, because of my music background at the time, everyone laughed and was like, "Oh, Azlan is trying to turn HSBC Sri Lanka into a rock concert," right? So the thing is, funny story is that when I went for some other work about 10 years after, I found out that they've implemented that very thing to certain back office departments about 7 years or 8 years after I had initially said it, and I was mocked. I was mocked at. So the thing is, I think the issue we have here is, even for that, our supervisors and the system is such that the bosses and employers and management is not happy unless they physically see someone in front of them, first of all coming in and punching in the morning when they come to work, and then punching out when they leave, and then just being there on their computer or being there in front of their workstation. So I think if we can adjust our mindset and overall as a culture work towards productivity and results, as opposed to, like previous governments. I said previous, not this government, please don't kill me. Previous governments, previous governments just appointing committees, right? So they spend a lot of time appointing committees, and absolutely nothing positive comes out of it. There is no result. So I think we are in that sort of in a process based culture, as opposed to a result oriented culture. That's where the issue is.
True, and the other problem I would say, if you tell people that you're working from home, our mentality, the guy said, guy's jobless, mate. The guy has to have a job. So
Yes.
that's the ground reality, mate. No one, how people will say, guy is jobless. It bugger, he has nothing to do. I went through that. I did so many things, and I didn't have to do, didn't have to impress the world that what I'm doing. I did just enough for me to survive in this world, and I'm happy in my corner. And it was a concern for a lot of people saying, this bugger is jobless. And on social media, people have said, you're jobless bugger, and if you write something on Facebook, when the others are at work, they will comment saying bugger is jobless. How you find and what you do on Facebook or whatever, it's entirely your prerogative. I mean, our people are very good at passing judgment and saying, oh, that's because I wear a tie, go to work, I'm the man because I got a white collar job. And you'd agree, and New Zealand and people that they are all skilled workers, 90% of those people, and they're not white collar people. They just live for the day, and they are quite happy, quite content in what they do, unlike ours. They are not in the rat race. What do you reckon?
Yeah, look, absolutely. I mean, building on what Azlan saying, it really comes down to the culture of trust and trusting the process to give the right amount of productive work. So I'll tell you the story, gentlemen. About 6-7 years ago, I've been pretty much a serial entrepreneur all my life. I worked for myself, started businesses, built it up, exited, started another one, so on and so forth. So, really enjoyed what I do, and pretty lucky to be in that position. So I did a little experiment once, and what it was, I woke up in the morning, myself up in my own office, put my noise cancelling headphones on, and started getting on the phone, going through everything. And I allowed myself about 45 minutes to get through that workload. And about half an hour later, 30 maybe 35 minutes, then I found that all the critical tasks for that particular day I had done, got it out of the way, and those were my highest payoff activities. So from a business point of view, that meant the revenue which was going to come in for the day, basically I achieved in about 35 minutes. But it was full on stuff. There was no playtime. All the problems of the world, they stayed outside. When I was focused on what I'm doing, that was it. Nothing else existed. So the reality is, if everyone, by that I mean everyone, who rolls on into an office, if they were to be honest to themselves and do this same very experiment, they'd find that, from the 8 hours they're in an office, they'd probably really crunch it down to maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours. However, that's probably going to cause more social problems because the perceived uh, level of work is not good enough because uh, you know come on guys, let's face it, even in culture, let's say if you're asked to write an essay, unless you write 455 sentences on face value, that essay is going to be perceived as crap. Whereas if you write five really good telling sentences, that quality will outdo all that quantity. So it's not about the volume of work you do, but it's really the quality of work you do.
Yeah.
So that's basically what I want to say.
Yeah, true. But there's some of the comments coming in that people are talking about. It's shocking that the Chinese aren't quarantined, and the people
Hmm.
are saying that they the epidemiologist Dr. Ja Singer should be sacked. Yeah, but as I said, I mean, you can't have double standards, and also there's important point that I missed at the start. And when this whole thing started, that we were very critical about the Chinese eating bats and snakes, and that we were pretty judgmental, just like the job. Like if you work from home, they call you're jobless, and we were very quick to criticize the Chinese people. I think in one of my blogs, I wrote, "Are we qualified to pass judgment on Chinese?" I'm telling you, mate. If you take Sri Lankans, we have a lot of porcupines around, where I live now. 90% of the people, they look for porcupines. We eat porcupines. They they
Oh.
they they eat they eat water monitors. They only don't eat the big the no, they eat the land monitors. They leave alone the water monitors. I think they are the ones. The cabarayas they don't eat, but the talagoyas considered as a delicacy. So the fact
Hmm.
is that we also eat all these, anything that crawls. That I don't think the Sri Lankans eat the insects and the frogs and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right? But if you go to Africa, they eat locust. It's a delicacy.
Hmm.
So the people around the world, we all got these weird eating habits. Unfortunately, now we are pointing fingers at Chinese, saying you ate a bat or a snake, and you are responsible for what is going on in this world.
Hmm.
And I don't know whether we have any right to pass judgment on them, right? But they of course, we don't eat dogs, and some people eat dogs. Like it's another, that's another scenario. But people are questioning why aren't the Chinese quarantined at the moment. And this afternoon, I saw in where I live, down Rajagiri, Valikad, they're full of Chinese. They are roaming around very freely. And whereas we are catching our own people, and we put them in isolation. I don't know whether we are going about the right way. We probably that is because of the money that we owe to Chinese, that we are mollycoddling and soft peddling when it comes to China.
Ah.
Perhaps that's the reason. I don't know what.
Yeah.
We are
Yeah.
exposed. I'm telling you, anyone listening out there, and if they think that we are like nothing will happen to us, I think we are fully exposed right now. What do you guys reckon? I don't know.
Yeah, well, again, guys, I mean, there has to be correct procedure, consciousness based on science. it comes out of readiness. Now, for example, the country I live in, there is a plan. It's endemic. It's a very clear cut process where information is flowed to the public, what the expectations of the general public are, the leaders of the country, and how they control the situation. And of course, us as the people, we play a very significant part in almost anything. Not just Ukraine. We have to actively participate and follow the current advice. They are part. So I think that's one of the missing links between the defense with the really nation. That fits the rest. You would see that the reaction to parts of society, ethnicity, you know, say, let's knock out people who live based on it. Let's knock out people who don't like this, whatever it is. So long as there's a proper process based on science evidence, it's just going to make the process a lot easier. But at the same time, we have to sort of debunk some of the myths which are sitting in our head. Understand that sometimes we have to unlearn some of the bad habits and bad things we know. Learn new things which will actually help us evolve as a society.
Yep, I agree with you. There's no doubt about it. Going. So you reckon that at the moment, Azlan, you're the one who is very critical about it, and you brought it up. So you reckon the only chance is the divine, help at the moment. That some of the prophets can go out there and help people out and get us out of this mess. You reckon that's possible?
Look, as far as I'm concerned, the prophets are looking at this situation right now as a means to increase their market value, increase their brand value, and of course get more donations and more money into their own pockets. That's how it's always been. Now, I mean, now that you just spoke about these guys, I mean, I've been following guys like Benny Hinn, Creflo Dollar, Kenneth Copeland, all the televangelists from the 1980s, the debunked ones and the ones who are still around. Like, are the prophets who are, and I'm going to call it out here. Let's just not say prophets. Look, Jerome Fernando and Kirby Delanroll, what they're doing is nothing new. They've been doing the guys that they are part of this huge system, this global mega church system that they're the hierarchy that they're a part of. They're right at the bottom, of course, yes, but they're an integral part in these mega churches in the Western world, expanding to the Asian territory. So they play an integral role. The guys like the Jeromes and the Kirbys of this world. So look, as a fellow entrepreneur, I commend them. Amazing job, guys. You guys are selling a product that cannot be seen. The rewards of the product are only in the afterlife, and yet you ask people to pay money. So that's amazing. I mean, that's a beautiful product you're selling, and if you can convince people to buy tickets for 8,500 rupees and come to one of your events, your magic shows, your illusion events, I think that's amazing, and I commend them for that. But as far as are they going to provide a real solution to COVID-19, or are they going to provide real hip surgery? Or if I tell this guy that I'm not well endowed and I need some help in that area, he's not going to do anything for me. None of them are. This is the problem we have all, I think, as a society and as people around the world, not just Sri Lankans. We are so quick to always look for some outside source for validation, or some outside source for a solution to something, without looking within ourselves and looking and seeing. Like, it's so easy now. Even in this situation, I see lots of people. First of all, I just want to clear this up. I have no issues with anybody who have their own faith. I mean, as long as you're doing good for society and for people, that's all that matters. But I think the problem happens is when you start exploiting the people's faith for your own personal gains, as opposed to doing something for society. That's where I take an issue with. And guys, I mean, I don't see any real solution, obviously, unless, of course, the Sri Lankan. Are you guys aware of what's going on with the World Health Organization? Because I'm not. I don't know. I have not really looked into that. I believe they're still looking. I think the last report that I saw was that a real solution could be about 90 days away. So within 90 days, if we don't use proper control systems in Sri Lanka, I think this could spread just like any rumor that spreads here. And I mean, at the moment we have not only the whole COVID-19 issue, we have this whole issue of ragging and bullying going on. I don't know if Boa is aware of that. Uh,
Oh, look, I'm fully aware of that. I was
okay.
sitting and read that. Only an absolute idiotic moron would roll a truck tire that I mentioned down a stairwell onto human content. It's very, it's absolute moronic. And I have no words to explain. I mean, these are supposed to be, uh, future upstanding citizens and pillars of society, and these absolute schmucks, they sit on their ass and they go on the taxpayer dollar, exploiting the free education system. And if this is what they, aspire to be, I mean, I have no words to explain that. My heart goes out to that child and his family on that day. I'm a father. Honestly, if that happened to my child, I don't know what I would. I probably go. I probably lose my mind. And I can assure you, I won't be calm, and I'm not going to respond in a calm manner because that's. I mean, that's to me, that's murder. That's absolute bullshit.
Absolutely.
This, and maybe all these prophets, if there's one thing they could do, maybe they could, with one touch of their hand, heal these idiots of their lunacy, put an end to it. It is absolutely shocking to read that. It's still happening year 2020.
Yeah, guys, like, sorry, Azlan, what you
No, no.
said,
Yeah.
that I stand with you, and I think, perhaps, I had, first-hand experience, with the whole, the born again culture. Um, I I stand by what you said. It's someone's faith, and which I have no doubts. I mean, I have no issue with that. It's someone's faith, and as long as it does something good for the society, and people have faith in it, what they do is not an issue. The issue starts when if they start victimizing you, who is
Absolutely.
not in, that who doesn't follow them, and they get into various groups, maybe cults, and starts singling out you, and you become a victim. There's an issue, so the people need to be conscious of these the little groups that are operating and who isolate themselves from the main society, and who's trying to market their product in every possible manner. So which I think it needs to stop, just like the coronavirus. And yes, the ragging, it didn't start just yesterday. Well, I mean, we all know that ragging is in sport as well, and that has been going along for a long time. I remember my last year when I played for college, and I was totally against that ragging should stop. That's and there were so many other seniors who stood against me, thinking that traditions must go on. And that's where the problem is, whether it's on the sporting arena or the where when it comes to university or the educational system, the seniors trying to I don't know, to target juniors and to break them down and bring them to the system. I don't know where it all started. I think it's prehistoric kind of act. It needs to stop. It has gone to another level, as you rightly said. That kid is fighting for survival, and it's barbaric, and it's murder, and it leads to murder, and those kids should be charged manslaughter. There is no doubt about it. I hope the that's the if the government wants to bring in military and do whatever they want, I think these kids are completely out of hand, and put them behind bars, or just clean up the whole system, because enough is enough. This need to stop. That we all have children, and the children need their safety. And it's amazing how these guys they come on press conferences and openly they challenge the whole world, saying that they are trying to justify their act, saying there's nothing wrong. And they actually they told the mainstream media, hello, wash your hands off, that's the internal matter, we will sort it out, who the hell are you guys to talk about it? And that's the kind of attitude and these guys have, and that needs to be stopped. And I hope the whole country will take this seriously, and that will come out of this barbaric, as you rightly said, that this act, and we clean up the whole mess. That's my view. I stand with you guys, there's no doubt about it.
Yeah. So I was just to add to that quickly, guys. I was watching an interview the president of the student association was giving to a friend of mine on a YouTube channel, and in that when the interviewer was asking him, why are you guys against CCTV being in operation within the university premises, his reason for that. This is a guy who's at University of Jayewardenepura, probably got 3 A's or 4 A's, and who, like you rightly pointed out, is going to be the future corporate citizen, the future citizen of this country. Says, why do we need CCTV? What's the use of CCTV? And he's like, so the fact of the matter is, first of all, what I want to know is, besides his stupid prehistoric idea about CCTV, how do they get to decide whether or not the university should have CCTV or not? They are just students. Now, if I'm thinking, if they get to decide whether CCTV should be in action or not in the premises, what makes us think that they are not even in control of their own grades? Perhaps they're controlling that as well. I mean, it's
Yep.
ridiculous.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right, mate. I mean, I don't know where this country is heading. I mean, where the other countries are heading towards progress. I mean, there's always, there's no progression in Sri Lanka. There's absolutely regression. We are going back every time we look around, and there's nothing constructive happening in any field. It's sad to say. That's the reality.
Well, look, gentlemen, as far as the whole issue of ragging and age, that, I mean, the vicious cycle, it needs to stop. Someone needs to put a stop. And all it does is it becomes a generation. Decade after decade, people will repeat the same nonsense. It's probably only going to get more ridiculous, more violent, as you can clearly see, more barbaric. And this idiot who came and tried to justify the actions, I would love to run a social experiment where we get all the cameras, and after we get shot down for saying this, where we ask him to stand down at the bottom of the stairwell, and I will probably take a 60-inch truck tire and roll it down, and let's see how he feels. He's probably not
Exactly.
going to, this is the ridiculousness. This is the utter stupidity of these morons who try to justify these actions. And let me assure you one thing: if that was my boy who was the victim, that idiot, he will not walk again. I will guarantee you that. That's how angry, and that's how it was a really emotional word was here. That this day and age, this kind of nonsense is taking place, and people come on YouTube in front of cameras and they glorify this, justify this. They, look, it's an intelligent matter. Forgets that they committed a crime punishable by multiple years of incarceration. I hope they throw the book at these idiots, and they charge them with the highest possible crime.
Well, you're
The
right.
assistant. Sorry.
Yeah, go on, mate. Yeah, go on, Aslan.
No, I was so yeah. Just to add to the ridiculousness of this whole thing, the assistant vice chancellor of the university has actually gone on record and said, "Oh yes, this event happened at the final party of the ragging season."
Yeah.
I don't understand. Yes, how on earth? This is like an episode on Bachelorette, or Bachelor in Paradise, or whatever. This is madness that we have a guy who is here who's in academia, who's held in high esteem in academia, could come on record and tell the media, "Oh, it's just the final party during the ragging season." Like, oh, I don't get it. And there were certain people who are just to add to that, certain people, when you said they should be given the highest punishment, there were certain people who are saying, who think that the right punishment for these guys should be that they should be their positions within the student committee or student council, that should be taken away from them. That is the punishment for action of this magnitude.
That's what amuses.
Absolutely blown away that people are deluded.
Yeah, mate. Go ahead. Yeah.
Absolutely delusional to think that they could commit a crime of this nature. Think that oh, it's okay. It's only the last episode of the season of the Real Housewives of Colombo, whatever they want. That is just borderline insane. That is just, I'm lost for words, guys. I'm just lost for words.
No, what amuses me most, there is a ragging season. Unlike a cricket season or a rugby season, there is a ragging season. That's the
Yeah.
irony of the matter. There are seasons to rag people. That's a that needs to be looked at. That has to be put forth right.
So, so really, according to the vice chancellor, there's a off season as well. So
Yeah,
they
there
come
there's
is.
all,
Yes.
to
yeah.
Capital, they come into the season and to make sure that that performance is managed.
Yeah,
It, so
that's
where do these guys come from? It's
Inter-
maybe from the bushmate. I think they always that there is an African proverb that comes into my mind. It's always say you can take a monkey out of the jungle, but you
All
cannot
right.
take the jungle out of the monkey. To me,
Hmm.
no other words. They are just a bunch of monkeys, glorified monkeys. You are in university, and we are looking, thinking that that's our future. So I'm so sorry to say, not acceptable, and I'm surprised that, as Boa rightly said, that the street justice is not served on them as yet.
Hmm.
If it is my kid, yes, I know exactly what to do with this moron. Seriously, that's where it matters. I hope the government will address it and stop this by nonsense. For good. It should
well,
stop.
yeah, yes. I mean, I'm not for a moment trying to condone violence, no violence, everything. So, but it just feels like the system has completely failed. Innocent, vulnerable children who work really hard to get to where they are. All these aspirations and dreams of they just get shattered, and there, there isn't real justice. Where does it all get to? Like, it's all about state affairs. That cycle gets speaking about it. Because all they're doing is monkey see, monkey do. It's just getting more violent, more aggressive, more barbaric, and borderline, even beyond the inhuman.
Yeah, mate. Guys, we have been talking for almost 1 hour, 10 minutes. I didn't even
Excellent.
realize that the time has moved on so fast. It's always the case. Once we get into the zone, the time moves on. It's always a pleasure talking to you guys. Before we wrap up, it's just like the burning question right now is the virus, and just help me out. Just the few things that we discussed. What people need to realize is, in case you get infected, there is no medication as such for a virus, so no point taking antibiotics. The antibiotics is not going to help the cause. It will only prevent, perhaps it will prevent a secondary infection. So
Hmm.
keep yourself hydrated. The dehydration can kill you, and do whatever that needs to be done to boost your immune system. That's a must. Drink plenty of water, and stay away from public places. Hygiene, wash your hands. um, and I don't know if pray to God, if it's going to help you. Pray to any God that you
Subscribe,
feel like.
subscribe to that prophet whatever.com or whatever it is, and make sure you buy like a 3 year subscription or whatever it is, and it's going to be auto renewed so that when you roll on to the next year, let's say for example a different virus like COVID 59 or whatever something, chances are you will be safe.
That's so hilarious, guys. By the way, that you reckon that shaking hands in this world will go out of fashion, and eventually the people will only just give you a punch, and just a no more. I think the English are already doing it. They have openly said that they will not be shaking hands. That's not going to be rude, and then I can see on the rugby field, Boa, that people are putting their fingers in places that you're not supposed to. Is it all part of Corona or what? All this aftermath or what's happening, mate?
Yeah,
Joe
well,
Mala.
yeah, that man, he's got a very interesting checkered history. He's had his fair share of discipline,
Exactly. Exactly.
and I think he probably needs a bit of professional help. And the real and the real interesting thing is with this whole Nutcracker. That's right,
The
Nutcracker episode.
Nutcracker, is it? Okay, Nutcracker.
Yeah,
Okay.
the very simple, what we can't call it, ball game. That, according to those who try to justify this in a very jovial manner, grab the testicles of Alan Jones, who was the question. So now, guys, the reality is, now, say for example, if we were in public and if I came to you guys and if I grabbed your, yeah, normal people don't behave like that, do they? Because if you do that in real life, you'd be charged with sexual harassment. So why
Yeah.
on earth that is acceptable on a field of sport, let alone rugby, is a bit puzzling. And
Yeah.
trying to sort of trivialize it and brush it under the carpet, in my view, as someone who's professionally involved in the sport of rugby, is a bit concerning. You don't really need that type of deranged behavior. That's my view.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah.
Simply,
Just
it's not.
to,
It shouldn't happen.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it's just like ragging. That kind of behavior should stop. That's what you're saying.
No.
It's not,
Here's a really interesting take on this. Now, Joe Marler is a English bit of a cult follower. Let's say, for argument's sake, if it was a player from a relatively obscure country,
Mm,
like Uruguay,
absolutely.
say someone even from Sri Lanka, someone went and grabbed someone's testicles and feet. Do
yeah.
you think people would be justifying it? I mean, I haven't done a scientific poll, but my
No.
gut feel is that there'll be outright condemnation. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah,
Yeah.
just to add to that, Joe Mara, like I'm also an extremely avid follower of rugby, especially international rugby, and Joe Mara has been a bit of a C asterisk 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 his whole career. And but in his defense, he is a funny guy. If you watch all of his videos on YouTube of him doing talk shows, he's extremely funny. But I think the thing is, it's like the him doing that to Alan Wynne Jones was sort of like Russell Peters going into court and making jokes. You know what I mean? It's not the right place. It's not the right place and not the right time. And I think he stands. The minimum ban is for it could be 3 weeks up to about I think 2 years if I'm not mistaken or more. So I really hope he gets dealt with as well. I'm not the biggest English fan. I went host. I completely went host during the World Cup finals recently in 2019, supporting the Springboks, obviously. Not a big fan, and you being in Auckland, I'm really supporting the Auckland Blues this year with Borden being in the team as well this year. Bo, I don't know if you follow the Auckland Blues, Bo.
Man, I've been a member of Blues, been following them for a very long time. I coach
Right.
on a professional basis for
Okay.
club,
Nice.
which is connected to the Blues
Blues.
franchise.
Oh, franchise. Super.
Yeah, we work as a leader. So yeah, I mean, hey, the Blues have won two games on the trot back to back in South Africa. And they went to Wellington and beat the Hurricanes as well away from home. So
Exactly. Last week. Yeah.
that's right. So we're starting to show a little bit of a trend here, which is a positive trend. But let's see how we go. We've had a fairly miserable few years supporting my team, but maybe maybe they've secretively sought the services of a prophet. I don't know. I've got to give you find out.
How about guys? How about a nutcracker for the guy who spoke on behalf of the guy who supported ragging? I think should give him a public nutcracker. Just what would you think?
I will volunteer, and I will.
Doing a proper bunch that he will refrain from ragging for the rest of his life. Get a like a 120 plus big prop forward to come and give him a proper nutcracker. That's proper ragging.
Maybe we could get Joe Marler to come down.
Joe Marler, yeah.
Also,
Viral.
also on the lighter side of this whole Joe Marler incident, I can't remember the name of the player, a former international rugby player who openly came out as gay after he retired, said that he had just tweeted recently saying if these things were happening on the rugby field when he was playing, he would have never retired. he would have been still playing.
He was a Welshman at the big centre.
Yeah, I can't remember who the guy was. Who was the guy? I don't remember the name though.
Yeah, the name he used, the big guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Whenever he scored a try, he had the dragon wing.
He has a so
Great.
yeah. Cool. All right.
Great stuff, guys. Yeah, it's it's always a pleasure talking to you guys. I hope we can. I'm sure that we have a lot to talk about. Some of the things we discussed, we ran out of time. And thanks to everybody
Thank you.
who was commenting and was watching and being a part of the show. And I would like to go off the air that on a positive note. Shit happens, people. Like that you got to be be aware of what's happening. That's we can only control what we can, not to worry about the uncontrollables, as I always say, and stay positive. And that come what may, the life must go on. One thing, like one thing we should remember, I think, this being a little philosophical about the whole thing, the universe will survive with us or without, with us or without us, that. But I suppose all these prophets, all materialistic things will come to an end without humans, So idea is we should survive at all costs, and the life must go on this earth, and the future generations must survive. And I think the people living in present, like you and I, and we should do all the good that we can on a human basis, help one another, and be compassionate. That's all we could do at this point. And show compassion to the people who are infected, and do the best we can, and hope that somebody will find a vaccination, and that we'll get back to normal life sooner than later. And it's because it's going to affect each and every one of us. I know that's the reality. I don't know what you boys think. That's in front of your face, whether you are in New Zealand, Sri Lanka, or wherever in the world. Be conscious there is an actual threat around there. What do you reckon?
You know what, Jared? I have to say, spoken like a true prophet. Prophet CS, Prophet Said.
Well, I mean, lots of things I have prophesied, which is reality. I told people, brace yourself, it's coming. People laughed at me, that as I said at the start of the show, as I said, it happened. And I think, what I see, life is not going to be easy the next few weeks. So, but that's, as I said, that's live it up. In part and parcel of life, there's nothing you can do. If government clamps down and say stay indoors for 2 weeks, buy enough dry rations, buy enough booze, perhaps that's going to help you, just to overcome the virus, and buy water, whatever, just stay close to your loved ones, and pray to whatever gods, and just hope that this whole menace will just go away, and that we all can get together, just and say we overcame the corona, then Boa, enjoy your corona the drink.
Exactly, yeah.
Just and don't shake hands. Do not shake hands. Go on. Just give a punch. Like go on. That's what you do. And that's it. Go on. Just Azlan. Wish you all the very best in your future endeavors, man.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I had a blast. By the way, it was wonderful meeting Boa, even if it was just online. And thank you for having me. I enjoyed losing my virginity on your show, so it was fantastic.
I hope you enjoyed it, mate. It's a very fine line between. My show is a very fine line between pleasure and pain. I hope you had the pleasure of it. Aslan, you didn't just lose your virginity; you lost it on an internet reason. Keep that in mind. Absolutely. Guys, catch you soon on my show. People, again, once again, thank you, and bless everybody out there. Stay safe. Good night. Take care.
All right. Good night.
Bye-bye.